Dharma teachers,
讲师、
Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of
以及
temples
各位
and
同门
centers, and all disciples present
网络
here
上的同门，
and over the internet.
我们今天与会的贵宾是
And our VIPs today are
瑞典兼挪威代表廖东洲大使夫人
the Taipei
Judy
rep
师姐
to Sweden and Norway, Ambassador Dongzhou Liao's wife, Dharma Sister
生
Judy,
活中中委会会计师
Accountant to Jubila
Teresa
Foundation,
师姐
Dharma Sister Teresa,
台湾雷藏寺公关组
PR
主任
Director of the True Buddha
王
School
师
Taiwan Temple,
师兄
Dharma Brother Fermi Wang,
大家晚安，大家
Good
好。
evening everyone, how do you do?
好，我们今天是修观世音菩萨的法。
Today we practice Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva's Dharma,
有很多的观世音菩萨，
and there are many Avalokitesvara
因
Bodhisattvas
为观世音菩萨有千百亿化身，
because
千百亿的化身。 比较有
she
名的观
has
世音菩萨呢，
myriads
有千手
of
千眼的观世音
emanations.
菩萨，
The famous ones are the thousand eyes, thousand
有
arms,
如意轮观音，
Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva,
有送子观音，
the wish fulfilling
还有马头
Avalokitesvara,
明王，
the
是马
a
头
child
明
giving
还有
Avalokitesvara,
11面
the
观音，
horse-headed
有
Avalokitesvara,
准提菩萨
which is
也
also
是属于观音
Hayagriva, the wish fulfilling
准提
Avalokitesvara
观音
Bodhisattva, the
有
11
鳌龙
fists
观音，
Avalokitesvara
有
Jundi,
净瓶观音，
dragonfish,
有白衣
purification
的观
ball,
音，
white
有
robe
高昂观
Avalokitesvaras,
世音。
and hiking Avalokitesvara.
那么大家知道的，
And we
这个
know
还只是一点点而已。
that's only
其
very
中
few.
其他观世音菩萨，他本身的显现非常多，
And
他的应化身
he or
也
she
非常
has
多。
even many more numerous
像据我
emanations
所知
and
道的，
physical emanations.
目前来讲起来，像整个西藏，我们学的是藏密，
The
那
whole
么整个
Tibet
西藏呢，
and what we study here is Tibetan Buddhism,
是被观音的
and
道
the whll Tibet is the spiritual center
也
for
就是整个西藏。
four-arm Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva or Chenrezig.
那么观世音菩萨的显化非常的多，
So the
我们看
emanations
那个
of Avalokitesvara is extremely numerous, uncountable. So in the Universal Gate Sutra,
是不是
which is part
妙
of
法莲华经
the
里面的
or
观
the
世音菩
Lotus
萨的普
Sutra,
门品里面所提到的，
it
应
was
该以
mentioned
什么身得度的
that
观世音菩萨就显化什么
Avalokitesvara
身，
would appear in whatever body to transform or
那
deliver
普门品有这样子的记载。那
appropriately.
我以前
So
我妈
based
妈
on
是
whatever bodies
一天
they
到
try
晚
to
就是
deliver,
念
they
普
would
门
appear as that body.
她那时候她
My
没有
mother
念高昂
chanted
观
the
世音
Universal Gate Sutra all
她
the
就是念
time.
普门品
At that time, she
啊
didn't
观世音
chant
菩萨普
hiking
门品
Guan Yin, but instead the
她
Universal
观世音
Gate
菩萨的
Sutra.
普门品里面提到，
So in the Universal
观世
Gate
音菩萨
Sutra,
有
it was
32
mentioned
种化身，
that Avalokitesvara has 32 emanations to fulfill, to appear as sentient beings, to transform them. And she can even appear as a Buddha or Prateka Buddha, which is the solitary realizer, or to become a Sravaka, a Sangha member, to become a Mahabrahma or Indra, Mahaswara, Iswara Deva, or great celestial general, or Vaishravana, or the four heavenly kings, or a minor king, an elderly, a layperson, a prime minister, a Brahman, a monk, a nun, a layman, laywoman, a female, a young boy, a young girl, a deva, a dragon, a yaksa, Gandharva, Asura, Garuda, Kinara, Maharoga, a human, non-human, or the Vajra deity, etc. Many of them. So, as whatever bodies you are to be delivered, Avalokitesvara would appear as that body. So Avalokitesvara's salvation is really uncountable. And we know that in her past, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva was a Buddha. There was the 11th phase Avalokitesvara, as I had said before. One face represents one Bodhisattva ground. So 11 faces represent 11 Bodhisattva grounds. However, Bodhisattvahood, Bodhisattva grounds are only 10 grounds. So that meant that 11 phases reaches Buddhahood, because the 11th ground is the Buddhahood. And Vairocana Buddha is on the 13th ground. And Avalokitesvara has reached 11th ground. So any ground higher than 10 is considered Buddha ground. So the past correct Dharma Tathagata, right Dharma radiance Tathagata. But Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is willing to become a Bodhisattva in samsara to deliver sentient beings. So her origin and position were extremely great. I have talked about the great, victorious, blissful heaven was also emanated by Avalokitesvara. And the Shambhala kingdom, the first king was emanation of Manjushri Bodhisattva. And the second king, which was the White Lotus King, his true identity was also an emanation of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. So, in Tantrayana, there are many crisscross emanations, and Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is an attendant to Amitabha Buddha, or the same as the disciple of Amitabha Buddha.
那么阿弥陀佛本身的变化也是非常多。
And Amitabha Buddha's emanations or transformations are also extremely numerous. For example, like Padma Kumaras were also emanated from Amitabha Buddha. And so their origin, the original ground was also Amitabha Buddha, the same.
所以这个菩萨的化现，我们也不要觉得
So
很奇怪。
the appearance or the emanations of bodhisattvas, there is no need to be strange about how come this one is also Avalokitesvara, that one also Avalokitesvara, because they have uncountable, infinite emanations. And I taught people to chant Namo 36,119,500 Buddhas with the same name and identification of Amitabha. That's quite incredible already, this number. 36 trillions. That alone is already beyond imagination. So even Padma Kumara or Guru Padmasambhava are also emanations of Amitabha Buddha. So of the 8 great primary deities, Chunti Bodhisattva will also belong to the family of Avalokitesvara. And Padma Kumara also belong to the family or the clan of Avalokitesvara and therefore Amitabha. And Hayagriva, so of the Herukas, so there are many more. And the 6-arm Mahakala or 8-arm Mahakala? 6-arm Mahakala was also emanated by Avalokitesvara. Too many, uncountable. And her compassion is boundless. The 4 immeasurables, or the 4 boundless mind qualities. The first one is about boundless loving kindness, boundless compassion, boundless joy, and boundless equanimity. They all related to Avalokitesvara. They all related to Avalokitesvara. Loving kindness typically is explained as giving pleasure or giving happiness to people. Compassion is alleviating sufferings. So boundless compassion is to uproot the sufferings of sentient beings. Boundless joy is performing work of compassion with joy, and the boundless equanimity is equality. So you have no discrimination whether this belongs to me or you or them. So you deliver everyone equally. You deliver everyone, all equally. So when we reach the boundless equanimity, you are also loving kindness, compassionate toward your enemies with joy and with equanimity. So you have boundless equanimity towards your enemies as well. There's no differences between me, you, and them. So look at the spirit of Ishichoka. That's how she was.
好像一起抽感有两个比较特别的这个
There seem to be
它的应化身
two rather special physical emanations where she performed bodhisattva work. Have you heard that about the leper?
有一个麻风病人，你们看过这个故事吧？
Have you read the story? Please raise your hand.
有一个麻风病人，好像是一个是全身流脓很恶臭的。
So a leper with pus and wounds, pus running out from wounds all over the body, his body.
然后他没有太太，他没有太太。
And he had no wife, so he wanted Ishichoka to marry him. And Ishichoka was compassionate toward him and lived together and married to him. Have you heard this story before? No. No? Nobody?
哦，那你站起来讲。
So please stand up and tell the story.
哦，好，那你讲，你把重点讲出来。
Just say the key point.
麦克风啊？怎么没有拿麦克风？
我记得是那个麻风病的男孩子呢，他有太太，之后呢，他太太因为嫌弃他有麻风病，
The leper man had a wife, and the wife abandoned him because he had the lepra. And Ishichoka is doing this. So Ishichoka, you can forsake anything. Now I don't have a wife, so can you please become my wife?
所以你想想看呢。
So think about it. Ishichoka was a beautiful lady. And the leper man was very dirty. In order to satisfy the leper man, she forsake her own body to marry him. That's a really suffering thing. You know, a leper in Taiwanese, we call it tiger pig. A really dirty man. Yuck. And she lived together with this leper man for a long time. A long period of time. And she did her best to help her husband's sickness. So this kind of spirit of equal equanimity, it's very difficult to understand, to explain. And there's another story about an amputated man. Do you know this story? No. And there's an amputated man
都没有，两个膝盖没有的。
No, the knees down, both knees down are gone, were gone.
他的医生
And he told Ishichoka,
只要有伊喜抽嘎的这个两个膝盖装在他的身上
he wished for Ishichoka's knees
的膝盖装在
to
这个
be
瘸腿的人的身上，他就可以
placed at his legs so that he can walk.
那你是慈悲的伊喜抽嘎，
And you are the compassionate Ishichoka. Can you please give your knees to
两个
me?
膝盖给他
Both
伊喜抽嘎也
knees.
答应
And Ishichoka
给
agreed
了这个瘸腿
and
这个
gave her
有自己
knees
变
to
成瘸腿
him,
的，
and
让
she
那个瘸
became
腿的
amputated,
变成可以走路。
and the man was able to walk afterwards.
观世音菩萨本身就有这种精神，
So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva has such a spirit.
所以大圣欢喜天呢，我讲过大圣欢喜天的故事。
So the great
大圣欢
victorious
喜天是因为
blissful
大圣欢喜天
heaven,
本来
I've
是
told
独
this
身的
story before.
独身的象鼻的像那个甘雨许一样的。
It was originally
但是他
this
是一个
deva
他到处
was
以杀
like
人为乐
Ganesh
杀人为
with
乐
the elephant trunk. He was a demon,
观世音菩萨就
and
化成
his
母的甘
joy
雨
is to kill people.
的
So Avalokitesvara became a
然后
female
这个
Ganesh.
甘雨许就一直追这个母的甘雨许。
So Ganesh was going after this female
怎
Ganesh,
么追都追不上，再怎么追都追不上。当他要
and
回
yet
去
he
的时候
never
他又
got her.
他又在他面前，
And only when he was
到最后
about to
呢，
be
这
disheartened,
个
she appeared again.
大圣欢喜天他就跟母的大喜欢体先讲，然后你一定要，我一定要
So
娶
the
你。
female
但母的
Devi told
大圣欢
the
喜天就跟
male
大圣欢喜天
Deva,
大圣欢喜天讲，说你如果要娶我，只有一个条件，
that there's only one condition if you
你
want
护持
me
佛法，
as your wife. You have to
护持佛
support
法，
Buddha
以后
Dharma,
不再杀害众生。
that in the future you will not kill and harm sentient beings anymore.
就说那这样好，我就答应你。
So the
就观世音菩
the
萨就把
male
这个大圣观世音
Deva,
菩萨收服
Swaradeva, agreed. So Avalokitesvara transformed him.
所以观世音菩萨，他在度众生也是一样的，像这样子慈悲的事
So
情，
Avalokitesvara was the
一起出来也
same.
是一样的。
It's compassionate
这样
like
子慈悲
this,
的
the
事
same
情
with
他们都
Ishichoka.
是做的。
They do all these compassionate acts.
所以我讲过一句话嘛，师尊也是可以舍，
Therefore, I've said this too. I can also forsake myself.
戒可舍，
I can forsake my life and my life
没什么。
and my death.
我自己觉得自己像这一次这个
Like this time,
这个病毒，
this coronavirus,
这个新冠状病毒，
the
我把
COVID-19,
新冠状病毒的细菌都带在
the
身上。
novel coronavirus, now I'm wearing
这
them.
个这个金色的这个很像新冠状病毒，
This golden ball looks like the coronavirus.
金色的这个黄金做的这个就像新冠状病毒，做的形象非常的像。
It's really similar. It looks really like the coronavirus.
那师尊也可以舍啊，一样的。
So Grandmaster can also forsake
如果有
himself.
新冠状病毒的人来，
If someone
师尊一样可以
with
加持。
COVID-19, Grandmaster will give him or her blessings all the same. Even if I'm infected, it's okay.
我只要加持你，希望你能够好。
I just want to give you blessings so that you would be well. And it's okay if I die. That's the spirit I have.
所以如果有这个我不能这样子讲。
So,
如果是说
but I cannot say this. If someone is infected with COVID-19 and wants a blessing from Grandmaster, I'm willing to give it.
我可以做到这个事情。
And I can do
有
it.
一点害怕，我希望是说
There's just a slight
我
fear
不传染给别人，
that I don't infect
那个
other
人也不
people
传染给
and that
给
person
大家。
does not infect the community or the
这
group.
样子，但是这样子又很难做得到。
So that's very difficult to
我不能讲说，
complete,
哎，
to
我们
do.
西雅图雷藏寺我师尊的问世，
Because I cannot say that at the Seattle Lizang Temple
师尊可以帮你问，但是
or
那个
that if you're infected with
法
COVID-19,
师就很危险。
then you can come for spiritual cultivation.
他
However,
是
it would be
负责问世的
dangerous
法
to
师
the
啊
Reverend Lian Qi
他就很危险。另外，
because
他只要
she's
走
the
人雷藏寺，
Reverend who helps with the spiritual consultation. And then if he or she walks
有一
into
我
our
看到有一个
temple,
笑话是这样
then it would drive people away.
早上去吃早餐的时候
There's this joke that
没有位置，
during breakfast
没有位置坐，
there was so full,
大
no
声地
seats
问我的
available.
弟弟说
So I
武汉
asked
好玩
very
吗？
loudly to my brother,
整个
how was your trip to Wuhan?
突然
And then
整
all of a
间店的
sudden,
人全部跑光。
everybody ran away and there are many empty seats.
我今天如果开放
So
说给这个
if I
得到
openly
新冠状病毒的人到我们西雅图雷藏寺
welcome
师尊帮他加持，
people with COVID-19
这也有
for
难度，
blessings by
因
Grandmaster,
为他要通过所有的关卡，到了
there would be some difficulties
进到我的问世
in
馆
order to come to this temple and then to my spiritual consultation room, and they have to come into contact to other people, and then
不
you
然
would
其实
infect
传染
other
到
people.
我也无所谓的啦。
Otherwise, if just infecting me, it'll be fine.
嗯，
I don't
也
care.
不珍贵，差不多。
But Grandmaster is very
我要
precious
想
to
说，哎
us.
人生就是这个样子嘛。这个为众生牺牲啊，也是可以的，
Oh,
也是可以的。
that's
真的
about
是这个
time.
样子的。
And that's how human life is. You just sacrifice yourself for sentient beings is fine too.
我能够因为这整个你知道，现在很多世界上很多国家，通通都
As
几
you
乎快传
know,
遍
many
几乎传
countries
遍
in
了
the
这个
world
世界上很多的国家
have some
能够
infections.
用我的身子
So if I can use my body
这个病毒能
to
够消除
exchange for the
我是愿意做
eradication
的
of the
用我的这个
virus,
身体去唤起这个病
then
毒
I
在
would
这个
be
沙
willing
漠
to
世
do
界
that,
消
to
失掉
exchange my body for the
我是肯做的，
elimination of the virus from
这
the
个
world.
死对我没有威胁，没有什么威胁，
Death is not a threat for me
因为
Because every day I'm together with Amitabha, Avalokitesvara, and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattvas. And since I'm already in union with Amitabha, Avalokitesvara, and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattvas, and if I'm able to forsake my body for the sake of the elimination of the coronavirus, that would be extremely fine. That's the spirit of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva too, and also of Ishichoka. The spirit of Ishichoka. Because in this world, there's nothing to be attached to. If I can replace if I can take in place the elimination of the virus by forsaking myself, it's okay. However, I don't want other people to get infected. So Avalokitesvara's loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity are all very boundless. Are boundless, truly boundless.
这里呢，列师之分义，也就是大略的解释
In brief,
方面的意义。
here's the meaning of the verse. The wisdom in the verse means bodhicharo. The outer demon in the verse refers to the soul Bhitu who creates demonic obstructions since beginningless time. Bhitu.
是突吉尼吗？还是那个鬼子母？鬼类当中的一种。
It's one of the demons or ghosts.
避难业家。
避难业家。
避难业家是解释成为什么？魔形啊，魔形是台湾话，就是魔的鬼类的一种。
So it's a kind of ghost.
宋中的二道。
And two paths and the 8 transformations of seeing the goal in the verse refers to the two paths of the development path and perfection path, and the skillful means and the wisdom path. Why do we have the development path and the perfection path? The wisdom path. We need two paths. Two paths. Because without development stage, there would not be the perfection stage. And what is the development stage? It's about the womb mandala or dharma dhatu. And the vajra dhatu is the perfection path. Without the Dharma Dhatu, there will not be Vajra Dhatu. Without spiritual cultivation, there is no Buddhahood. So, it's all the same meaning. So, in the Dharma Dhatu mandala, there are no mundane beings. Without mundane beings, there are no Buddhahoods. So, development stage is the spiritual cultivation from the beginning, but the perfection stage is toward the end of the path close to Buddhahood. And the skillful means, Like today, the chanting mantra, visualization, forming the mudras, entering into samadhis, they are all the skillful path. The skillful means path. Once you have attainment, when you reach the ultimate path, that's called the wisdom path. Once you truly have attainments, then you can let go of the path of skillful means. Once you have the attainment of Amitabha Buddha, do you still need visualization, chanting mantra, forming mudra, entering samadhi? No, no need. So, in the process of spiritual cultivation, you need them. Once you have attainments, you have no need for them anymore. But your attainments come from the path of skillful means. So your attainments come from the development stages. So now you understand. The 8 changes of seeing the goal are the 4 hindrances, 3 of which generate the spiritual experiences and sufferings, etc., to be gradually recognized. This is the instruction on the awakening realization to the outer demon. So, we have talked about the awakening's realization. And here, this is about the protection against inner demon. Next. Protection against inner demon. This is the instruction on the protection against inner demon. If one knows it is demonic obstruction, and yet none of the practices can deter it, it is called the inner demon obstructions, which was stated in the verse as inner demon. Again, like the 4 hindrances stated earlier, the protection method is by the marks of the 4 empowerments. The inner demon stated in the verse referring to the head of the cemetery, the protector gods of the area, our own protectors and other divinities we rely on, should be offered the appropriate food and offering items to please them so that they benefit us, or not wanting to harm, break off, or absorb us. Therefore, it is referred as inner demon or hindrances. So what is this inner demon? And here it talk about the head of the cemetery. The head of the ghosts of the cemetery. Like in the past, Vajrakilaya was the head of the cemetery. Dorje Purba. However, Guru Padmasambhava subdued the head of the cemetery, subdued Vajrakilaya. So he became the protector or supporter of the Buddha. So head of the cemetery or the protection gods of the area. So the area gods can also obstruct you. For example, for Ichicho girl, when she had attainment in her spiritual cultivation in her cave, she radiated bright, brilliant lights, rays of lights, and so all the mountain gods could not bear it. So they had to leave their seats. So all the mountain gods found her rays of lights bothersome. So they created obstructions to Ishichoka, and they are considered to be the inner demon. So these aerial protection gods like city gods and earth god, area earth god. So in order to eliminate this demonic obstruction, you have to make offerings to them. Food and offering items that are appropriate for them, to please them, so that they benefit us. Or in the least not wanting to harm us or break us off. Like the city god is the protector god of an area, the mountain god too, or earth god too. When your radiance is too bright, then they would come to stop you, to obstruct your spiritual cultivation. At this time, what should you do? Make offerings. Very simple. Like Ganesh, that I just talked about, Ishwaradeva. He obstructed all people. So you offer Avalokiteswara to him. Avalokiteswara became a female Devi, female Iswara Devi, to him, and he's fine. Then he became protector to Buddha Dharma. The same concept. So toward all the gods are the same as the virus. Why are they similar? You know, there are good germs inside our body. Like the good bacteria that battle or counter the bad bacteria. So all the good the bacteria inside our body are good. They don't obstruct us. But the bad bacteria from outside, when they come into our body, then we generate antibody, and the antibody are also bacteria, and they fight against the bad bacteria and to kill them, and then you become healthy. If your immune system wins over the invader germs, then you are healthy, then you recover. If you lose, then you're dead, or they would attack your organs. Grandmaster has said that we are scared of the COVID-19 because they also attack their generative ability, the male reproductive systems. So if man has no power, has no reproductive power, then human life could be meaningless, might as well dead. So we often talk about germs. So there are many obstructions that are intangible too. So if you make appropriate offerings to the gods and ghosts, I offer things that you like, whatever you like, I offer to you. then you would you would get lots of power. They were at first wanted to obstruct you, then they become your followers. They were demons, then they become gods. They were ghosts. And they can also help spiritual cultivators. So if your offering is effective, then this would happen. That's what's mentioned here. So to let all this inner demon to please them, because if they are displeased, then they would harm and obstruct your spiritual cultivation. But if they are pleased, then you have get them. You have gotten them. The same with our germs inside our body. There are bacteria inside our organs. So in your secretion, they're all bacteria. They're all good bacteria. So in the future, we can invent, if you have bad stomach or digestive system, then you eat the poop of a healthy person, and because inside that poop there are lots of good bacteria, and by eating it then you can change your own flora or bacteria inside your body. That's the concept why we want to eat poop. Eat shit. Because inside the poop contain a lot of good bacteria. So it's golden color, not so hard, but it's formed. So that has a lot of good bacteria. So if you have bad digestive systems, ulcers, stomach reflux, acid, and you have bad bacteria inside your digestive systems, then by eating the poop of a healthy person, it's the same as taking in the good bacteria from that person, and then you let the good bacteria to eliminate the bacteria, the bad bacteria inside your body. Once your digestive systems become well, then you become healthy. So the medical science is researching into this. That's why the Japanese invented the drinking of urine of pee. So eat poop and drink pee. So to take in the good bacteria to eliminate the bad bacteria, then you would become healthy. So the God was good, the God has power, and ghost has small power. So those with small power are the ghosts, and those with big power are the gods. So gods and ghosts are the same. But if you serve them well, you make offering to them, then they become supportive instead. So if you cannot control them, they would eradicate you, would kill you, would harm you. That's why Kongzi said, that you respect them, but you keep a distance from them. So what he meant is it's good that we worship the Buddhas, but you don't want to believe in the gods and ghosts, but you can still make offering to them just to please them and so that they can help us. But in terms of our faith and belief, we should believe in the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's what it means. The verse stated, the one on the 10 paths refers to the 8 realization grounds and 2 stages of both development and perfection. In the verse, if not recognizing the marks, then it is the worst. The inner demon creates 4 kinds of hindrances, creating all sorts of sensations and spiritual experiences and sufferings, so that one cannot enter into meditation. Showing all types of sights and sounds about gain and loss, and by twisting our realization ground, hindrances are created. By recognizing, we can be protected. And these marks are divided into 12 marks. 4 basic marks, 4 deficient marks, 4 speech marks. So when the inner demons appears, then they would delude you with all the senses, the sights, the hearing, the smell, touch, and the thought. Because gods and ghosts can also transform themselves to become the 5 senses to entice and delude you. So you have to recognize them clearly. Sometimes they create all sorts of sensations and sufferings in your spiritual experiences for you to feel suffering so that you cannot enter into meditation, so to obstruct your practice and spiritual cultivation. So gods and ghosts can obstruct you too. So you need to make offerings and you need to understand the signs and the marks. And once you understand the concept, you will not be deluded by the gods and the ghost. Typically in Buddhism, toward the ghosts, they always create obstructions and hindrances. And we should also make offerings to the gods to please them, so that the power is positive, not obstructive power, but would be help favorable. But we should not take refuge in the gods or in the ghosts. We take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. We take refuge in the Guru, in the root Guru. We take refuge in the lineage root Guru, in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. That's the rule of Buddhism. Take refuge in Sakyamuni Buddha. Take refuge in the Dharma as spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. Take refuge the Sangha who maintain the Buddha Dharma of Sakyamuni Buddha. And then take refuge in the Vajra Master, which means they are taking refuge in the enlightened Vajra Master who can provide deliverance, liberation from afflictions, from ego, from self-attachments, from physical body, so that you can go to Pure Land and have spiritual attainments. So these 4 refuges are the most important. In Buddhism, we don't talk about refuge in ghosts or refuge in gods.
在高考的前夕，老爸打电话给儿子，老爸说：“儿子啊
，before
轻松，别紧张，好好考。
the
我
test
已经帮你
to the high school,
这个
a
后
dad
台
calls
是
the son, don't worry, I've got you a back supporter,
但是你
a
要
very
有一
strong
点
one,
高考的程
so
序
don't worry about it. However, you
儿子
still
说
have to
好
go through the
那
process
我会
and
很
take the
安心
test,
好好
okay?
的考。
And the son
为什么
said,
你找的
okay,
关系
don't
是谁？
worry, I will take the
跟
test.
爸爸
And
讲
who is the
说是观
supporter?
世音菩萨。
Oh, that's Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, the dad answered.
是观世音菩萨，观世音菩萨也是我们的靠山
So Avalokitesvara
对不对？
Bodhisattva is also
我
our
们
supporter, back
靠的
support.
是佛菩萨，
We rely on
金刚
Buddhas,
护法
Bodhisattvas,
通行
Herukas,
诸天
Dhammapalas,
都是我们的靠山。
protectors, Dakinis, and all heavenly beings.
小美问
They're all
爷爷
our back
爷爷
supporters.
打针的
Xiaomei
时候
asked Grandpa,
为什么要拿棉球插在屁股上？
before we
爷爷
get
讲
an injection,
那是
why
酒精，
do we want to
先
use
把
the
屁股
cotton
插
ball
醉了，
on
再
our
打针就
butt?
不会痛。
Oh, because that's alcohol.
这
So
讲得很
when
对
we
啊，
rub it, then you
把
will
它
not,
插醉了，它就不会痛。
so that the butt would
小美
get drunken and
可
you
是
will
我
not
还
feel
是
any
痛
pain.
啊。
And Xiaomei
爷爷讲
replied, but I
那
still
是
feel
因
the
为你
pain.
屁股的酒量很好。
But that's because your butt can drink a lot and don't get drunk.
这个当然不是啦，
Of course,
当
that's
然
not
不
the
是
case,
说屁股有什么酒量。
that the butts
不过
have
这个只是
capacity
一
to
个
drink
比喻
for
而已
alcohol.
啊，一个比喻。
It's just an analogy.
啊，这里有一个这个警示的，接近什么样的人，就会走怎么样子的路。牌友只会
So
催你打牌，
that you will
酒友
become
只会
whomever
催你干
you
杯，
are together.
益友却会
So
感染你。如何
your card
取得
buddies
幸
would just get you to play cards,
人
and then
最大的幸福
your drinking buddies would just
不
get
是
you
捡到钱，
drinking,
也不是中奖，而是有人
and
可以鼓励
but
你，指
the
引
most
你。
lucky person is not to get the downfalls or win lotteries, but someone that can encourage you and help you.
我们以前有一句成语就叫
There was an idiom,
近朱者赤，近墨者黑。
you become red
就是
when
这
you're
个
close to cinnabar, and you become black when you're close to the
所以
ink.
朋友啊，你找到的
So
朋友
your
是怎么样
friends
像我们今天在协会，
are important.
你找到的
So
真的是
if you're
他有
Buddhist
佛学知识
practitioners,
大善知识，
and if you find
那你
someone
就
with
可以
true Buddhist
解
knowledge,
脱
so
往
that's
生
a
到佛
very
境，
knowledgeable Dharma
或者
companion,
你自己
then you
修
can
行
become
成为佛
liberated
菩萨
or be reborn in the Pure Land, or you can cultivate
这是
spiritually
最
and
大最
become
大的收获，人生
Buddhas
最
and
大的收获。
Bodhisattvas. That would be the greatest gain in
有
our
时候我
human
们
life.
好像是说你碰到什么样子，你就被引到
So
邪
whatever
道
kind of people you encounter,
真正的道理
you would be
就是你能够找到
led into to become those kinds of people. But you can find people that would help you to attain Buddhahood.
我带着狗一起离家出走，
I took the
结果
dog
家人
and
只张贴
ran
行
away
狗
from
启
home.
事
And the notice that my family posted was only looking for the dog.
有时候人跟狗啊比起来，狗反而比较重
So
要。
sometimes the dog is more important than the human being.
它 他的灵性，他懂得人为什么是万物之灵。
So why the human beings are number one? Because human beings have a spiritual aspect and they can cultivate spiritually. And it's very difficult for those in the animal realm to cultivate spiritually. Once you fall into the three lower realms, like the hungry ghost realm, and they're so hungry all the time, how can they cultivate? And then the animal realms, they're very stupid. How can they cultivate? And in hells, they suffer so much. How could they cultivate? Therefore, it's best for the human beings not to fall into the three lower realms, the hungry ghost, animal, and the hell. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.